if the question is going to be, please review me because I want to make more money as a practice, that doesn't go down real well. Rather, do you know what? We're in this to get people moving healthier through their lives from cradle to grave. Help us do that. Help us reach more people so that they can move easier, less pain, whatever your proposition is. Because then you get them signed up to a cause instead of business, which is really a lot more powerful.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, Coach's Corner Edition. Ready to boost your practice by 10,000 in just 10 minutes? Join your coaches, Jennifer and Tracy, for fast improvement strategies that drive real results. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and we turn them into super clinic owners. We are your hosts, Jennifer Gligoric and Tracey Sundkvist, and today is Coach's Corner, where we help you get $10,000 in 10 minutes. And today's topic is going to be patient retention. The difference between your overall strategy for patient retention and then also what you're doing just to get them through the door and how to keep them coming back into different types of plans. Tracy, lead us off.
Thanks. So the wonderful thing about patient retention is that it can actually save you on marketing, because what you want to do here is you want to make sure that you're able to get a long lifetime value from your patients or your customers or your clients, because what that does is it means that you're going to increase on referrals. You're going to increase every time they have a problem that you can solve. You're going to be seen as the best provider for them. And what this does is it takes that pressure off on having to feed that new patient monster. So, making sure that you are giving the absolute best service, the best experience, and the best outcomes for every single person who you are attracting to your business, it is going to help you grow organically rather than just having to spend all of that money on attracting new people. So it's a big one today with lots of long-term value.
Yes. And if you've been following us on Super Clinic, remember especially the episodes we do with Rory, we really walk you through like your first process, right? So when you first start out in business, you want to build the system to get new patients, right? You want to think about the very first touch point, which is usually an ad, or maybe it's an organic reach out, and then how that patient calls you, how the front desk is handling things, and how they go through the funnel to where they become a patient, right? That is a process. That is a system. When you get it into place, you're growing by new patients. But then the second part of the business, the second funnel that you have to work on consistently, you're always working on all of them. And the second one is going to be the fulfillment funnel, the fulfillment system. That's when people come in, what is that process like when they actually are a client? How are we rewarding them as a client? How are we keeping them committed to the program that they've signed up for so they can keep their eye on the prize, which is the outcome they paid for? Right? How do we help them get that outcome that they say they wanted? Because in a lot of times, they sign up, they send the money, and then they don't show up, or they don't do what you're saying, or they just kind of drop off. And then what happens? They're not happy because they didn't get the outcome. And, logically, you and I can say, well, that's their fault, right? They didn't do what they were supposed to do, but you still have to help them do it, right? They still are in need to get there. So there are so many things that you can build into the process, but let me give you some really powerful ones. Make sure follow-ups don't stop with a patient once they start. You might have this great thing where a lead comes in, you're following up, you're getting there, you're following up to make sure they show up, and giving them the text, don't forget your appointment is tomorrow within 24 hours, giving them the text that morning, today you have an appointment, and then they become a patient and they stop getting any real reminders. Or maybe you give them a text message the day before. You also want to email them. You want to say, we're very excited about your third visit. This is what you can be experiencing. Think about the journey, whatever it is, whatever your outcome is, and you can create videos and send that out to them. That's part of the patient experience. We're walking you along the way and keeping you engaged. Tracy, what are some other ways or other things you want to add to that to keep them involved?
Well, I think I think you really hit the nail on the head. It is about communication, and it is about building out that relationship. It is about being top of mind, but it is also in how you're going to service them, not just in terms of that outcome, but in how you treat them when they come in. If they have a billing issue, if they're calling in to reschedule, how are they, is the front desk kind of treating them? Is it kind of new paperwork every time they come in? You know, how are you making that long-term journey for them as simple and painless or pain-free as possible? Send the reminders. I mean, all 90% of EHRs or your patient systems are going to be able to send out automatic birthday wishes. You'll just want to make sure that that's kept up to date in case you don't want to be sending things out when you've had issues. So keep an eye on keeping your lists clean. And this is another very important tip when it comes to making sure that communication is flawless. Make sure that your lists are clean. If you have a patient who comes in, has a horrible experience with you, and then they're just getting automatic messages after the fact, like nothing happened, I'm telling you, if I'm that patient, every time I get that message, it's going to remind me just how angry I am at you. Don't do that. Right? Make sure that you remove people from contact lists when you know that this is going to be a problem. So we're speaking about the long-term value. We're speaking about patient retention. A part of this is also then about being able to get referrals from these individuals, because when they're happy with what you do, then they're happy to refer as well. And this is why it's so important to keep these lists clean. Keep your patient data, your patient information clean. Is it going out to the right email? Is their contact information correct? Are there any kind of communications that they should not be a part of? These are the kind of things that need to be actively managed rather than just kind of not having any attention to it.
Yeah, I have a good example of this. So I had a client, and they did not take care of their list, and they had somebody that wanted a D&D, and they had put it on there, and then something happened with the program, and the guy ended up giving them a bad review, and they were asking how to get the review off. And I'm probing it, well, like, what happened? I'm curious, why are they so angry? And so they had a patient, and they had passed away, right? So this wasn't a review from the patient. This was actually a review from the family and the spouse. And they had sent flowers. They had been very kind, sent flowers to the funeral home, but then they kept on sending happy birthday to him. And this was not the only patient that had happened to. This was like the third or fourth, like in a period of 8 years or whatever. And they just, only when, they got angry and said something or got a review did they take it off, right? Something like that is so easy to avoid to do that. So I just agree with Tracey. You have to have someone that's keeping up with that list. Number one, saying, oh, well, I have, 30,000 patients in my patient list, only to find out, no, there's really about only 5,000, because it's 30 years old and these people have either passed away, or that email is invalid, the phone number is someone else, or they've moved, right? Knowing what your actual list is part of being a business owner and putting yourself into that shareholder mindset, not even the CEO mindset, the shareholder mindset. What are the actual assets of the company? Because if you go to a business broker or buyer and they look at that list, they're going to say, this is going to take forever to even scrub through this, and we don't know if this business is really worth anything for that, because there's no way, And so those lists are part of your business assets, and you need to treat them like an asset. But it also helps you do a better service with the patients you have that are active. So I absolutely agree with that for the retention. And then Tracey mentioned, which I thought was just great, is about the referrals. Another thing about retention is to ask often. Hey, who do you know? Who do you know? And then also 5-star reviews. And if you're not tracking those in your business, then you're not retaining the way you really want to, because you should track it. And you don't have to do them both at once. You can say, okay, this month we had 3 5-star reviews last month. This month I would like to get 5. What is our game plan to get 5 this month? Well, we're going to ask on every 4th visit. It seems like the 4th visit is when they really start to feel better. And we're just going to say, hey, can you give us a 5-star review? Here it is. Maybe hand them the iPad, or, we'd love for you to be able to review us, or here's the QR code. This means so much for us. You can just scan it on your phone and it'll take you right there, and it's just by asking they can do it. Anything that
don't forget though, when you're asking for those reviews, it's not for you. Remember, the reason why you're asking for reviews is you want to share that you want to help more people. And a way that you can help more people is if more people learn what you can do and buy into what you can do, you have a wider reach. It's going to help you because it's going to grow your practice. But if you're just going to, if the question is going to be, please review me because I want to make more money as a practice, that doesn't go down real well. Rather, do you know what? We're in this to get people moving healthier through their lives from cradle to grave. Help us do that. Help us reach more people so that they can move easier, less pain, whatever your proposition is. Because then you get them signed up to a cause instead of business, which is really a lot more powerful.
Absolutely. I'm glad you corrected me on that, because the good thing about Tracey being a neuroscience expert is language matters, and words are powerful, and how you deliver them are very powerful. And so even though I've done this for a very long time, I'm still like everybody else. I'm like all of you listening too. I still learn as well. And that's why we love the Super Clinic Project, because it helps us grow as people and it helps us get great education. So guys, thank you for being with us. Hopefully you've taken $10,000 worth of advice in the last 10 minutes, and just go to superclinicproject.com and share, review, and be sure to give us a 5-star review, because it helps us continue to get great education out so that we all can be a part of being lifelong learners and doing better for ourselves and better for the communities that we serve. Have an awesome Super Clinic week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Super Clinic Project podcast, Coach's Corner Edition. If you would like to work with Jennifer or Tracey to 2 or 10x your business, then go to superclinicproject.com and click on either Jennifer or Tracey's photograph to book a complimentary session. Your greatest breakthrough is just a session away.